Hello, we're going to talk about the Book of Tea here with Edwardo Brerra and myself, DavidBoje, and we'll do a short video here. So what is this notion of finding beauty in the things that are imperfect?
That are simple, imperfect, or even broken or damaged thing. There's a whole art that derives from Taoism, but also that was embraced by Zen Buddhism. And it's about how if things are very simple, then you can really engage easier. You can really be more mindful about them.
Okay.
So, for example, if we talk about Japanese calligraphy, you have that circle. And the beauty is how every time that you do it, it's going to be different because they are all imperfect. It's not like having a print of a circle of a Western press.
Right.
So that's what we mean by that, appreciating that everyone is different. Every work of art, every cup of tea is different, looks different, tastes different. But the important thing is not the end product itself. The important thing is the whole process. The process is more important than the end product.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what I do, I apply all this to storytelling because that's my thing. And in the write-up here, you were talking about the difference between Western storytelling and more indigenous storytelling from around the world. And you made a number of points, but one of two in particular, pick up on two, that Westerners compartmentalize everything. So we have a storytelling for business, then we have a storytelling for the family, and then we carve out our spiritual storytelling and our hobbies, and I think you used the term imbricated. Is that right? The other kind of storytelling.
Yes.
All of these worlds are interrelating at the same time. Is that correct?
Correct, because in the Western way of life, then we compartmentalize, as you said. We have the work time and the task related time that we go because we sell our labor force. And then after that, then we have that time for leisure activities and for eating, etc. And then sometimes inside that we compartmentalize the time for spiritual or religious activities.
Gotcha.
So we have them compartmentalized like that. But in native ways, what we have is that all those are imbricated. So if we have a community where they grow corn, for example, among the Huicholes, where I have my compadres already passed away, but my godchildren are now part of the ceremonial officers. And what happened there is that they will plant corn, the 5 types or 5 colors of corn. And so all that is not just for their sustenance. It's not just to have corn and eat it the rest of the year, but there's also as a spiritual practice.
Oh, okay.
Because then by doing that, they are relating themselves of all those pities, all those spirits that are pitying them.
Okay.
And the spirits are taking care of them, but it's a relation of mutuality. They are also in a way, having that transaction with the spirits, you know, by making offerings, by doing pilgrimages. So there are different ways. So when we say that they are imbricated, is because that the leisure time, the religious time, spiritual time, and the work time are not isolated from one another. They're not separate, but they are all imbricated. It's a single way of life.
Now, in the Book of Tea, Kakuzo, if I got it correct.
Yeah, Kakuzo.
Kakuzo is giving us the example of the tea ceremony, but any artistic endeavor, let's say, would have the spiritual, the working of the art, the whole market of the art, its aesthetics. And so the artist isn't separating themselves from the rest of society and culture. In the Western business, though, we employ the artist to make something, to make a design, and then we replicate it with no sense of ceremony, no sense of the spirituality of the art itself. So it's all split apart. So you have elevator pitches that last 90 seconds or 2 minutes or something to make business deals, and you have fancy slogans. You have Tiger Woods or other sports stars that speak about the product, but they don't really know the product any more than you and I know the product. You know, so the storytelling lacks authenticity. It's not grounded. How do you compare that to the practice of your own peoples? That is there that kind of splitting out and kind of it's such sad surface kind of storytelling, I think. But go ahead.
Yeah, because in Western art, when you're talking about you know, who's paying for that art, we see that all this started to change pretty much during the Renaissance, because in the Middle Ages, what were all the art, the visual art? What was it about? It was about biblical scene. It was about virgins. It was about saints, because it was the church that was employing all those artists. But then after that, during the Renaissance, then and then all the way through the Enlightenment, what we have is that then we would have, for example, landscape painting, and or we would have all this collection of fruits and produce, and then maybe ham, something like that, or then we would have the female nudes. Why? Because all three topics had to do who was paying now, who was the artist painting for. The lord, the aristocrat who owned the land of the landscape. It wasn't the landscape of the artist who say, oh, I think I like that, I want to paint it. No, because it belonged to that lord. And the same thing, everything that was...
Sure, I'll take care of that. We're going to open the gate for the horses. So. Yeah. So I met the Gorilla Girls. Do you know them?
No.
They're protesting that in the big museums, a lot of nude paintings. Most of the paintings by men, hardly any women painters. And so they dress as gorillas.
Now when the nude, the female nude becomes important, because the model wasn't just because the artist would say, oh, I like that girl, I'm going to paint. No. It was because that was a concubine, a lover of that lord. The land from the landscape, then the fruits, the produce, or whatever, the cheese, the bottle of wine.
We might have run out of... No, it's okay. It's just the sun is in our eyes. No problem.
Yeah.
We'll have to put photos in. Well, Graceland wants to go.
I'm gonna go say goodbye to Anad and Bella.
Okay, we'll terminate it here.